Alright, today we have 3-3 notes on graphing slope-intercept form, similar to the NJSLA problems there. So what we have here, I'll have to make it a little smaller. Is a unique style slope-intercept form problem here. We have a bunch of the ordered pairs, which are listed -18, 3, which I'll make it a little bit bigger so it's easier to see. So you have -18, 3 is our first coordinate. Our second coordinate says it's a -198, comma 33. And our last coordinate is -2178, comma 363. Those are the three coordinates, or the three ordered pairs, that are points on a graph of a linear equation. So all three of these coordinates are on one line. They're on the same line here. Our goal is that we have to graph this line onto this graph. However, it would be pretty darn tough to graph the coordinates -198, comma 33, because our graph isn't that big. Same as -2178, comma 363. That'll be pretty darn tough to graph on this graph that we're given. However, -18, 3, we can graph that. So I'm actually going to slide this over. So you could see -18, 3, -18, 3 up is that coordinate right there. So at least one of the three coordinates can be graphed, which is a good thing. So from that line, we're going to have to make a line. Now, something we know about, when we're given multiple points, we know all we need is 2 points to find the slope of a line. So our goal here is to graph the line that shows all the ordered pairs in the solution set of this linear equation. To graph the line, select 2 points on the coordinate plane, and a line will be drawn through the points. So we got 1 point. To get the other point, we got to find the slope. So let's take the other two smaller numbers. I want to kind of avoid the big numbers. I'm going to do x1, y1, x2, y2, because we learned about slope in our previous unit. y2 minus y1, so 33 minus 3 over x2, -198, minus x1, which is a -18, so two negatives really make a positive. That tells us our slope. So 33 minus 3, you know, is 30. -198 minus a -18, that's really -180. 30 over -180, we put that into our graphing calculator, and we could simplify that fraction. So do 30 divided by -180, math, 1, enter, and we get -1/6. So that's -1/6. That's our slope. -1/6. So we got our 1 point. Now from that 1 point, to find another point on this line, we use the same slope. So we could go down 1 to the right 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll do it in blue. Those two blue dots, that's all we need to create our line. Let me extend it in both directions. And you can see we now successfully graphed a line on this graph when given 3 coordinates with only 1 coordinate actually on that graph. And we do that by finding the slope given 2 coordinates And then from the one plotted coordinate, you do the slope, rise over run, to find the second coordinate and connect them to make your line. Alright, let's try another one. This problem is, it is on the challenging side. And I'll read it and I'll rewrite it to make it nice and big. It's a little bit easier to see on the computer screen when you're doing your Google Forms. Remember, to make something bigger and smaller, you hit Control plus to make your pictures bigger, or Control minus to make pictures smaller, make your screens smaller, okay? So my coordinates are, of the ordered pairs, we have 19, negative 13. So 19, negative 13. 247. And negative 169. And then 3,211 and negative 2,197. All three of these coordinates are on one linear equation. They all fall in the same line. Graph that line on this graph that's provided to you. So what we got to first do, we have to first graph, one of these coordinates have to fall onto this graph. So 19, negative 13. That does. So we go 19 to the right, 13 down. It barely does, but it does. Falls right there. Next, since we were able to plot one point, we then need to find the slope. So x1, y1, x2, y2. So we know our y2, which is negative 169, minus our y1, which is negative 13, over x2, 247, minus our x1, which is 19. Negative 169 plus 13 gets you negative 156. So we have negative 156 on top. Divided by, well, 247 minus 19 is 228. So we got a pretty ugly looking fraction, but we could simplify that fraction by putting it on the graphing calculator. So we do negative 156 divided by 228. Hit math 1, enter, and we get negative 13 over 19. So negative 13 over 19. Unfortunately, we can't go 13 down because it's off the graph. So when we have that scenario with the one negative, we can move that negative to the bottom of the fraction. So we could have 13 over negative 19. So when we do that, that means you go 13 up. Right, takes us right back up to the x-axis. And then you go 19 to the left. And we successfully got our other point. Now we connect them. And we successfully drawn a line, which I have highlighted here in purple, that goes through these three coordinates, where only one of those coordinates actually fall on the graph that's being provided to us. All right. All right, let's try another one. So we got the ordered pairs 22, negative 8. All right, over here, 22, comma, negative 8. We got 220, negative 80. And we got 2,200, comma, negative 800. Now, of those two coordinates, only 22, negative 8 works for us for graphing. So we go 22 to the right, 8 down, which should be that red dot right there. So that's the coordinate 22, -8. From that point, we got to find the slope to make this line. So we do our x1, y1, x2, y2. So I make my graph y2 minus y1, so -80 minus a -8 over x2, 220, minus 22, which is our x1. So -80 minus a -8, that gets us -72 over 220 minus 22 gets us 198. So -72 divided by 198, math 1, enter, we get -4 over 11. So if we go down 4 to the right 11, we're off the graph. So -4 over 11 won't work. However, you can move that negative to the bottom. So we get 4 over -11. And that's what we could do here. Start that over. So from that red dot, we could go up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and to the left 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And plot a coordinate right there. Connect those two coordinates. We know our slope is negative, hence why we have a negative line. Let me graph that line on the graph that's given. Let's do another one. Just readjusting everything so I can get as big as possible for you. So our three coordinates are -22, 13, -176, 104, and -1408 and 832. So just to rewrite them to make them bigger. So you got -22, 13, and the other smaller one of the ones that are given is -176, comma 104. That smallest coordinate, that's the one we could plot. So -22, 13. So -22, 13 up. It's be right there at the top of the graph. We got to find the slope. So we got x1, y1, x2, y2. y2 minus y1, so we got 104 minus 13 over x2, which is -176, minus a -22, which is really just plus. 104 minus 13, that gets you 91. So you have 91 in the numerator. -176 plus 22. I'm going to use a calculator just so I don't mess that up. And I get -154. I put that in the calculator. 91 divided by -154. Do math, 1, enter. And I get -13 over 22. So -13 over 22. That 13 a little bit easier. So that's our slope, -13 over 22. So I go down 13, to the right 22. Our second coordinate is right there. Connect those 2 points. And we successfully graph the line on this graph that's given based on the points that are given to us in the problem. I think we got time for one more, so I'll try squeezing in one more. Sweet, some smaller numbers. Gotta like that. Alright, so we got the coordinates 7, -3, which is, we could easily plot, so 7 to the right, -3 down, we plot that coordinate right there. And we got the coordinate 84, -36, and 1008, and -432. So the two coordinates I'm working with are 7, -3, and 84, -36. The reason why is because they're just the smaller numbers. I don't really want to use the biggest one. Label them x1, y1, x2, y2. Then we do our slope formula, which is y2 minus y1. So -36 minus a -3 over x2, which is 84, minus my x1, which is 7. So -36 plus 3 is -33. Divided by, well, 84 minus 7 gets you 77. So we have -33 over, I put this back in so I don't lose power. There we go. Put that in the calculator. -33 divided by 77. Math 1, enter, and you see you get -3 over 7. Is the most simplified version. So that's my slope. That means from that red dot I go down 3 to the right 7. 4, 5, 6, 7. And that's where I plot my second point. We then connect those 2 points. And that purple line is the line that's graphed on this graph that will go through all 3 of those coordinates that's given. Alrighty, so if you have any questions, make sure you come to Extra Help. I'll be happy to help you out. Here's your classwork and your homework. If you want to email me or come to Extra Help, I'll be happy to help you. Alright, have yourself a good night.